Okay guys, I'll start off this haul with the new Emacs RaceSpec-II motors. I have the 2206 2700 kV version here and the 2306 2400 kV version. And these are both 3 to 4S. I believe there's also lower kV versions if you for you guys who want to do 5 or 6S. And here's just a quick look at what you get in the box. You get your prop nut, of course. You get some screws for 4mm thick arms and 3mm thick arms. And here's a look at the motor itself. You got the open bottom design here. Got a set screw in the bottom instead of a C-clip, which is nice. Very nice strands. Hollow shaft, and you get about 115 millimeters of motor wire. And the motor wire here is 20 gauge motor wire. So this 2306 motor does join a crowded market there. There's a lot of 2306 motors out there, so get this on a quad pretty soon, and we'll see how this compares to some of the others. I'll probably have to do a bunch of videos, probably on the same quad, and swap the motors out, and then we'll get to see how they fly. Okay, got another toy selfie drone here from Real ACC, and this one kind of looks like the Rise Tello, and sort of similar shape and frame and prop guards. Okay, this one's a little bit of a different setup here. This one does come with a controller, so a little toy controller here, a bunch of different functions. Here's a quick look at the drone itself. Similar feel in terms of the look to the Tello, but it looks a little bit smaller and the props are a little bit smaller. It does come with a 1000 milliamp hour battery pack. Looks like it charges via this little barrel plug here. Kind of similar style also to the Tello, but I don't believe this is compatible with the Tello at all. Here's a look at the camera. It does look like the tilt here is manually adjustable. I don't think it's electronically adjustable though. Okay, so I got a bunch of stuff here from iFlight RC. They sent me some new motors from their new Tachyon line. This one is the larger 2306 2450 kV, a popular size and kV. And here's a quick look at the motor itself. Pretty long amount of motor wire here, probably at least 150 millimeters, and 18 gauge wire, so very thick motor wire here. And here's a look at the motor itself. You got a little bit of a gripping material for your prop. You got a hollow shaft. Pretty nice looking windings. Not so sure about the bell shape. It looks like it's kind of a heavier, it looks heavier, at least the way the bell is designed. Spins pretty freely. The magnets don't feel to be too notchy. Bearing seems smooth, and you have a set screw on the bottom here, not a C-clip. That's nice. And you can take a look here at the air gap. And these magnets, they're a little bit thicker than the ones on the Emacs motors. So a little bit more notchy. Can't tell if they're curved or not though. What do you guys think? But yeah, this is a 2306 2450 kV motor, very popular size. So obviously I can compare it to some of the other ones that I've got, including the Emacs motors, and the HGLRC also is the same size as this one as well. So we'll see how this one performs in some of my testing. Probably do a swap out in one of my builds. Okay, got some more Tachyon motors. These are the 1408 4100 kV. So they have a large line of these new motors that are various sizes. I think there's a 1408, I think there's 3600 kV as well, and then there's like I think a 2206 and a 2207 motor as well that they didn't send me. So in this one you have two of the motors here. Pretty decent amount size of motor wire there, about 100 millimeters. Yeah, it's a pretty nice looking motor. At this kV, I'd probably recommend this for a 3-inch build at 1408 size and 4100 kV. You can see the M2 screw holes in the bottom. This just kind of trying to turn this. The magnets are very strong. The motor is very notchy, so it could mean it could be run a little hotter. Tuning might be an issue. I don't particularly like really notchy motors like this, but yeah, on a 3-inch build, this ought to be a beast. You can even hear it when I'm turning it. I don't know if it'll come on the camera or not, but yeah, it's pretty loud and very grippy. So it's actually kind of hard to turn even by finger. Just a quick look at it. Pretty nice looking windings here. You can see the air gap in the magnets. I'm not sure why it's so grippy. The magnets don't particularly look super thick. And I'm not sure if they're curved or not, but yeah, what do you think this motor would be good on? Let me know in your comments below in terms of the frame size and everything. This ought to be a beast of a motor. It's going to be a battery hog too at 4100 kV on a 3-inch if you're using like a Jam Van 3052 prop on 4S. This is going to be fast. Okay, so this is the new KISS iFlight controller, and this is, I guess, a licensed flight controller from KISS. It has the KISS firmware on it. I don't know anything about KISS. This is obviously licensed from Flyduino, so it's not a clone. It looks like it's all properly licensed, so it should be all up on the up and up. Okay, so this is kind of interesting. I open the box and you have two boards here. It looks like you have an all-in-one board here, flight controller plus I think PDB, because obviously your battery is going to be soldered here, your ESC is here. Yeah, and then obviously here's your USB port to connect to the flight controller. Man, you get the boot button there. And then you get the secondary board here. I have no idea what this is for. Yeah, so gonna have to look into it. I'll do a review video on this one after I do a little research. But this is very interesting looking, and yeah, I'll have to educate myself on how KISS works. Okay, so they sent me some more frames. This is a Tau H5 frame kit, and I actually have the H5.5 frame kit along with the, I believe they're the 6 or 7 inch arms. I haven't gotten around to that video yet, but I'm going to make one video for all of them. Obviously, the Tau frame, the body is going to be the same for all of them, just different sized arms. Just a quick look what you get. You get your, like this little instruction diagram here. Pretty nice battery strap with a metal buckle now. You get your screws and nuts and standoffs. A little 3D printed part here for the, I think that's the top part, and then here are all of the carbon pieces. You can see that unique shape of that Tau arm. Only 3 holes for the motor mounts, and obviously this is the 5-inch version. And here's a quick look at what the frame is going to look like once it's put together. Okay, so this one is the new iX3 Lite frame. It's a 3-inch frame, 145 millimeters. Okay, so here's what you get in the box. Looks like you got a single unibody bottom plate here. The holes look like it's for 12 millimeter motors. I'm not 100% sure there because it doesn't look like it's a slot. So it's either 9 or 12, but it looks like it's going to be 12 since it's a 3-inch frame. It's obviously going to have to at least fit 1306 motors, something that size. Here's your bag of standoffs and screws and nuts. And you get a micro battery strap here, and this is the red version now with the metal buckle. I have the black version with the metal buckle. Now they have a metal buckle on the red version. And here's a little diagram of what the frame should look like when you put it together. It should be pretty easy to put together. And you can see the different thicknesses of the different plates here. 3 millimeters, 2 millimeters for the top plate, and 1.5 millimeters for the side plates. Okay, here's another frame. This is the new IH3 dual split mini 3-inch frame. This has the dual mounting stack for the 20x20s and for the Runcam mini split and flight controller. And it's just mainly going to be for those people that want to do aerial video. You can see here what the frame looks like. It's an H-style frame, but you can see the 2 sections here for the 20x20 stack mounting. Obviously the front here is going to be for your Runcam split mini. You got a 3D printed part here for your antenna. You got your camera side plates and top plates. Got your micro battery strap and your standoffs and other nylon hardware, screws and nuts. And here's what an explosion diagram, what the frame's going to look like assembled. They're actually selling the, I think the bind and fly or plug and play version of this already up on the site. I'm not sure if the frame kit is being sold separately. They just happened to send this one first instead of the bind and fly. I think that's coming later. But if you don't want to build it and don't want to get all the parts, I think they're selling it for like $225. So it's pretty reasonable. Comes pre-built with all the parts, including the Runcam split mini, which is $80 by itself. So something you should keep in mind. Yeah, it comes pre-built, and if you want to do, you know, some sort of a aerial video type platform, this is a pretty good one. I think the props aren't going to be showing and view that, but I'll do a build of myself in a future video, and we'll see how that compares to, say, the El Camino, which is kind of similar to this one. Okay, so I got a few more things sent by HGLRC. So we'll start off with this one here. This is a DVR and VTX combo. Looks like it's a single board with a VTX with a DVR built in. It's interesting. Okay, so it looks like we have a 30 by 30 board here, MMCX connector, got the LED here on this side, and on this side we have the DVR here, so it looks like a micro SD card slot there, and it's kind of, it doesn't look like there's anything to protect it from the card pinging out, but maybe we'll have to come up and improvise something there. Of course, they do include the MMCX connector to SMA connector adapter. And interestingly enough, it looks like this has a microphone on board, so you'll be able to get audio directly from the video transmitter. Okay, so this is so they're calling it a DVR Nano, and I think this is a competitor to the RunCam DVR and also the HM DVR-S. So here's a quick look at what the board looks like. Looks like it has some M2 holes here, and it looks like it's a 20 by 20 pattern, so unlike the HM DVR-S, this has a way that you can easily mount it instead of using foam tape like I've been using and decasing and etc. Obviously you have your micro SD card slot here and your button. And I like the fact that they're on opposite sides. You have the slot on one side and the button over here, so that on the HM DVR-S, slot's over here and the button's on this side, so it's kind of you have to decide you want the slot to be this way and the button the other way, but obviously you want them to be on opposite sides. This looks really similar to the RunCam version, so I'm kind of wondering if they're using the same OEM manufacturer for this board. Might have similar specs, but yeah, I'll have a review on this coming up soon. Okay, so now we have the version 2 of the F4 Flame flight controller. So here are the specs on the back here. F4 CPU, MPU 6000 gyro, Betaflight OSD. It's got a 3 amp 5 volt BEC. It does have a current sensor up to 300 amps built in. I'm not sure if the version 1 had a current sensor or not. This does 2 to 6S as well. Okay, so inside you get the board itself and you get the mounting hardware, as well as a very large 35 volt 1000 microfarad capacitor. And here's a look at the board itself. Looks like they've changed the pattern a little bit, and the solder pads are a little bit bigger. A lot more stuff that should be easier to wire up. And it looks like this also is the one with the built-in PDB, so you got the BEC down here, you got your Betaflight OSD current sensor, and obviously this is where you're going to solder on your ESC, so that's pretty nice. Okay, so in the big box here we have the new Batman 220 5-inch drone. Okay, so in the box you get the drone itself, you get this pagoda antenna, but it doesn't look like it's been credited as a pagoda antenna. It looks like they only give you 6 propellers, or 2 sets of 2, and these are the Gemfan 5042 propellers. So they do give you a MMCX-II SMA adapter. You get your lock nuts and some extra screws here as well, and you do get a battery strap. Okay, here's a look at the drone itself. Obviously, the Batman 220 is based on their new Flame 2306 2450 kV motor. It's a very nice motor. They're using their, I think this is a new version of their ELF camera, because I see this plastic cover is a little bit different, so I'll have to check that out, see if that's better or worse than the existing ELF camera, but it looks like they changed the case a little bit. And the stack that they're using is also based off of one of their stacks. This is a F440 stack, I believe. So you get some 4-1 ESCs here. I think they're 40 amps. You get the F4 flight controller plus this half board here, which is, I think, the GTX 585 video transmitter. You can see there it only goes on that one side. It's a half-size board for the video transmitter, but obviously you need enough vertical space here for 3 boards. And interestingly, in this case, for the video transmitter, they are using a whip antenna here and with an MMCX connector, and then they have the zip tied here to the back. So obviously, if you want to use the pagoda antenna that they provide, you'll have to swap that out, remove this antenna, put on that adapter, and probably screw that in right there, put the antenna there. But if you just want to use a whip antenna as it is, it should work just fine. And this is sold as a plug and play, so it doesn't come with the receiver. So they have all of these wires here that are already pre-soldered onto the flight controller. And I think there was some instructions at the bottom here that cover the colors and which receivers they go to. So it should cover most of your receivers, your FreeSky, your Spectrum, DSM-2, DSM-X, and 3.3 volt receivers, and probably your FlySky IBUS receivers as well. Taking a look at the bottom here, you can see it's a stretched X frame. The arms look like they're properly cut. They're chamfered. Yeah, it's pretty. Actually, the design itself is not, particularly innovative. You got your sandwiched arms here, sandwich plate here. The battery strap goes through here. I believe these are going to be probably 4 or 5 millimeter arms. I'll cover that in the review. And then you got a battery pad here on the bottom to grip the battery so it doesn't slip. But yeah, looks like a nice overall build. I know these motors are very good. The stack here is very good. So they should fly pretty well. Based on the components and the frame, it doesn't look shabby either. So I'm not exactly sure what the pricing is on this. I'm not sure if it's currently out yet, but check the link in the description. And when the link is out, I'll put that in the description. Okay, so I think this is another micro drone. Okay, so I think this is the Skystars X140. Comes with the 2.5-inch jump fan, 2540 props, and you get some zip ties, some spare screws, and a JST connector. And you get a pretty nice battery strap. And the drone comes in this plastic wrapping. Okay, so there's a quick look at it. Looks like a standard Truex type frame, single bottom plate, bottom mounted battery, although possibly could do a top mounted battery. And we have some, I think these are some 1106 4500 kV motors, so a little bit low kV. Probably have to do 4S on this. And I'm not sure who makes these motors, but they kind of look like Sunny Sky motors, but they have an open bottom design, so it's interesting. Looks like in the front here you got a Runcam Swift clones, probably some sort of a CCD, micro CCD camera. And you have your typical stack here, probably 20 amp 420 AC F4 flight controller, and then you got your video transmitter. I'll give you details on those in the review. And this one comes with an XM receiver, not an XM Plus, so a single antenna. You get a buzzer and some LEDs in the back, and a whip antenna for the VTX. Okay, so I finally got in the U65 Micro drone here. This is like a tiny whip, brushless tiny whip here, and I think it's basically the Snapper 6 but with a plastic frame. So this is the advanced version, and it comes with this nice battery charger, and I believe it comes with extra batteries. Yeah, so you get 2 batteries here. I think there's going to be one on the drone. You get some spare props, screwdriver, some spare screws and rubber bands. And here's the 3rd battery. The motors on here are 0603 17,000 kV, so a little bit lower kV than the one on the Snapper 6, but I think pretty much everything else is the same flight controller, similar propeller, similar canopy, probably the same camera. I think the batteries are the same as well. It's just the only difference here is the frame is plastic instead of the metal and carbon, so this is going to be a little lighter, probably a little bit faster, I think, giving it less weight. So I'll have a review on this and compare it to the Snapper 6. I think a lot of you guys are asking for that. Okay, got a really big box here. This is the Bugs 5W, and as you can see here, it's got the brushless motors. I think they're 1806 1500 kV. Has the onboard GPS. I can do follow me mode, waypoints, all that good stuff. Okay, so here's just a quick look at this. Comes with a pretty nice controller. The control is over 2.4 gigahertz, as you can see here, and probably the range on this is going to be more than the Wi-Fi FPV that's going to come back to this camera. Here's I think it's a 1080p camera. You can record via micro SD card, and the video is sent back to your phone via Wi-Fi. So I think the Wi-Fi FPV range is going to be a lot shorter than the control range, but it does have GPS. It does have return to home. So this is sort of an evolution in the Bug series, and they're obviously adding more features little by little for a pretty decent price. I think this is like under $200 for everything, and I think there's probably gonna be some coupon codes and stuff like that coming out later. But I'll have a review on this coming up soon. We'll see how this does.